Serious business of the summit, the technical presentations. May we request everyone to take their seats as soon as possible, along with all mobile phones kept on to silent mode. I would once again request all mobile phones to be strictly kept onto silent mode, as they cause a lot of disturbance and disorient the speaker while he's giving the presentation. We have some very eminent speakers who have graced this occasion and who will be giving their presentations to you. And it would be nice if they could have uninterrupted presentation without any mobile phones disrupting them. All set to go ahead with the proceedings of the next session. So ladies and gentlemen, a very warm welcome to Technical Session 2, which is the session of technical presentations on technical communication systems, innovation in digital infrastructure, and workforce development. I have the proud privilege in inviting on stage our distinguished session chair, Major General Dr. Pavan Anand, AVSM, retired, Director of Center for Atmanirbhar Bharat, the United Service Institution of India. Let's put our hands together to welcome our session chairperson. Warm welcome to you, sir. Also have the proud privilege in inviting eminent speakers. May I invite Mr. Parikshit Tiwari, Associate Director Sales, Norden Communication. Warm welcome. I invite Mr. Mohit Gulati, Head of Outbound Product Management, Google Distributed Cloud, Google Cloud, JPAC. A warm welcome to you, sir. I invite Major General A.K. Jha, Additional Director General Information System, Indian Army. A very warm welcome to you, sir. I invite Mr. M.A. Johar, President, Strategic Business, CP+. Warm welcome. I invite Major General Manish Mehta, retired, ex-Additional Director General, Signal Intelligence, Headquarter, IDS. A very warm welcome to you, sir. Inviting Mr. Arul Pathan Singh, Director, Madras Security Printers. Warm welcome. And also inviting Colonel Anshul Verma, Director, Mobile Communications and Tactical Communication System, DGIS, Army Headquarters. I stand corrected. He is DG Signals, Army Headquarters. So ladies and gentlemen, this session is dedicated to tactical communication system innovations in digital infrastructure and workforce development. It will delve into key areas such as advanced sensors from drones to high-resolution satellite inputs, networks as integrated systems, AI-driven surveillance and digital security solutions, and emerging technologies like mobile edge computing, cognitive radio, and quantum computing. And our distinguished chairperson for the session, Major General Dr. Pavan Anand, AVSM retired, was commissioned into the Corps of Engineers and was awarded the President's Gold Medal at the National Defense Academy for being first in order of merit, and later the Sword of Honor at the Indian Military Academy, IMA. During the Kargil War, he controlled operations as Brigade Major of an infantry brigade, and later was principal staff in a counter-insurgency force. He ended his illustrious career as chief engineer of the Southwestern region, handling combat operations and infrastructure development at the apex level. He is a qualified mechanical engineer, master's in strategic studies, defense management, and a doctorate in general management concerning indigenization of the defense industry. After the army, he was Secretary General of Highway Operations Association of India in the private sector, and he is currently the Director of the Center of Atmanirbhar Bharat, USI, and a professor at the National Defense College of India, in addition to being an advisor to corporate entities. And ladies and gentlemen, may I now hand over to Major General Anand to kindly carry forward.
It will be contested, and it will be contested by many of our rivals who may or may not be our adversaries, but definitely be our rivals. And therefore, when it comes to technology, I think it is geostrategy and technology which seem to have a great connect with each other. And that's where we at the USI also position ourselves at the Center for Emerging Technologies and Atmanirbhar Bharat. Because there is no technology today that will be given to you on a platter, and most of us will have to struggle with coming up with our own solutions. And coming out of just yesterday's discussions at the DSCI, and I had the pleasure of General Manish also with me, we certainly came to the conclusion that we have to have homegrown solutions in a number of places. But then let's look at how we are going to go about it. We will have to reduce dependency on external sources, and the Make in India activities will have to increase. And that's why we are all here today. So India's defense budget for 2024 is the fourth highest globally. It stands at US dollars 74.7 billion. We also have the largest expenditure. As of 2022, we set a target of USD 6.02 billion worth for exports. So that makes sense. The cash flow loops have to be closed. The DRDO has also been allocated a huge budget of 2.9 billion, while a corpus of 12 billion, 1 lakh crores, was earmarked for deep technologies. And these deep techs come in the form of small grants, but also long-term loans to tech-savvy companies to foster innovation in defense technologies within India. So, whenever we are told that we are now getting indigenized, there has been a success with the Make in India, and I find many naysayers sometimes saying it's not going anywhere. Let me tell you, I think for whatever we may flagellate ourselves over saying that we haven't really achieved what we want to achieve, we are certainly on our way. Let's keep looking for opportunities to make it a smoother sail. So as of April 2023, we have a total of 606 industrial licenses issued to 369 companies. The defense exports have increased over the last 5 years by 240%. Even the last major one project that we've heard about is about TASL, Tata's, setting up a plant in Morocco for the WAP, the Wheeled Armored Platform project. The Moroccan government has given them 20,000 acres of land, and within 1 year, the project is going to be underway. I think this is the way forward, and the private industry is actually now going to be in the front of our strategic technology endeavors. Of course, you are all aware of the IDEX and the Aditi. While IDEX, in their disk challenges, give out about 1.5 crores, and it's been going out now for some time, it has been our constant suggestion to them that they need to increase the number of awardees, at least in the IDEX. But the new form that has come is Aditi, where 25 crores are awarded to the challenge winner. Maybe these numbers would increase and we would get greater and greater innovation. That being as it is, let's look at the technologies which have been mentioned today morning, but just bringing some context into it. We certainly are looking at digital technologies coming in a big way. Artificial intelligence, natural language processing, machine learning, deep learning, robotics. We are looking at AI in a big way. At the policy level, I know that the government is now working full-time to see that there is also an ethical aspect to AI, because the space has to be dominated. The policy space also has to be dominated. And recently, I was at the Responsible AI and Military Domain Summit in South Korea, where India was represented. India signed the declaration there as well. China did not. The attempt by certain powers, and I will name one of them, a framework has been brought out between the US, EU, and UK, which means about 50 countries have come together to make an AI framework. Once they dominate the policy space, it will be what is happening to us today. We will have products being developed with standards made by them. It is high time we start developing our products faster and we start dominating the policy space. In some cases, it is my considered opinion that projects have to be done on a mission-oriented task force basis. And I mentioned this repeatedly. We had with us at the USI just about a year ago, November last year, a very high-part panel consisting of an international panel of US and EU military personnel as well as experts on AI. And there, General Jack Shanahan, who is the original director of the JAIC, a Lieutenant General from the US Air Force, spelled out to us how they have made a mission out of Project Maven. And to put it in 2 sentences, Project Maven was a project that looked at change identification of long footage of video films. These video films were taken by drone and by aircraft of the various activities being taken by the Iraqis during the Gulf War. And it required 1,500 people to run through the entire footage over days, and yet there would be so much of human error. How could you do change detection faster? AI was to be brought in. Project Maven was instituted. He headed it. He clubbed up with our friends in the US. He clubbed up with Google. So there is a clear case of partnership between private industry and the military on specific projects, which we must consider now. And those projects have to be something which are of immediate consequence, the low-hanging fruit. The money has to be pushed into it. People have to be empowered for those task forces. And the result was Project Maven came out in 8 months. I can't imagine that coming out, even now, in any project, other than a kind of system and structure that was set up by them then. We are definitely looking at quantum computing, and I'm happy to say that the Chief of the Army Staff has actually reached out to the NQM and said, why is the military being kept out of it? So now the military is becoming very much a part of it. I must also say that the Army has now set up 16 clusters, out of which the quantum cluster is at MCT Mao. There is an AI cluster in Delhi with the DGIS, and there are 16 of these clusters. So this is something now which is moving fast, and it should be of interest on both sides, industry as well as the military. We're certainly moving very fast into 5G, and hopefully in times to come, 6G will be more or less indigenous. Let's keep our fingers and our toes crossed on that. But definitely when that happens, we will have our homegrown solutions with us. We will need fast computes, and we will need fast networks, because the battlefield is now becoming more and more integrated. If you have the Internet of Things, you have the Internet of military things, as the DGIT mentioned in the morning, and you have the Internet of battlefield things coming into place. Certainly blockchain to help us with whatever encryptions that we want very strongly encrypted. Certainly augmented reality and virtual reality are required for immersive training within the armed forces, and already some work has started on this. With all of this, I would be actually default if I do not say that the higher digitization we get into, the more cyber security we have to look at. And therefore, if we realize that the defender is the one who has more at stake, the attacker always has avenues to find out. It is the defender's dilemma which really creates the problem. I think we have to be very clear, and it was brought out in the morning, that we have to incorporate cybersecurity solutions ab initio into our products. With this, I will take my time out, and since questions will be in the end, what I'll do is, with each of the speakers as they come out and speak, I will request them to restrict their talk to about 10 to 12 minutes. So we save about 2-3 minutes on each. And we have a reasonable time for Q&A in case we find that there is a lot to be asked. I see we have 7 speakers with us. Each of them is a very, very applied topic. Tactical communication systems, of course, Google Distributed Cloud. We have officers from the military speaking on various subjects of interest from the DGIS as well as DG Signals. We have a retired DG Signal Int with us. And of course, we have industry representatives in the form of Mr. Tiwari and Arul Pratan. So I look forward to a very interesting presentation from each of them. And I also look forward to a very interactive session at the end of it through Q&A. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Workforce development. And the first speaker would be Mr. Parikshat Tiwari, Associate Director Sales, Norden Communications. The theme is AI-driven surveillance. Mr. Tiwari is a dynamic expert with 23 years in networking and surveillance product sales, notably in e-governance and large-scale infrastructure projects. He's been a strategic planner. He excels in brand exploration, project inception, sales management, and business operations. Presently, he holds the designation of Associate Director of Sales at Norden Communications, India. Over to Mr. Tiwari.
Good afternoon, all. First of all, I'd like to thank Bharat Exhibition for giving us an opportunity to present in that enclave. Norden actually is a UK headquartered company. Norden is a UK headquartered company. It started operations in 1998. Since beginning, we are into that technology and we have involved into the technology and we have taken technology into the various markets like Europe, Africa, Asia, and we have delivered the product in terms of the all kind of quality certifications, and our R&D team also working on that standard to maintaining the quality standards as per the customer requirement. As Norden presence across the 40-odd countries, we have direct presence directly into the 28 countries and 12 countries we are presenting to the partner network. Our commitment towards the industry is to deliver the quality products with the help of our distribution channel and partner network. In terms of the projects, we are dealing in many sectors, but in terms of the segment-wise, we are very specific to low electric voltage segment, where we have the different kind of cables, starting from the communication cable to instrumentation cables, and we have that security surveillance products, we have that public address system, we offer the access control, UPS, and digital signage kind of products, which will be like core competency in terms of our product portfolio. We are into majorly focus into that security products like cables, surveillance products, and that public address systems. National security is a priority for all the nation. Norden also play a key role providing a critical surveillance solution. Our defense solutions, which is dedicated designed for the defense vertical, which will give you high imaging cameras, ANPR camera, 360-degree cameras, and which have that capability to meet the all kind of challenges. Norden stands for the several reasons. We offer comprehensive range of products from the communication capable to sophisticated surveillance system. We are certified by the cyber security and compliant with the highest security standard, including NDAA. Complex defense solutions, and we have proven track record for the successful completion of the projects. While in terms of talking to the national security or national priority, national security also stands for that making that economic stability, international relationship, public safety. Norden understand that what kind of challenges is required to prevent that national security, and we have protected and preserved the integrity of the nation. However, there are multiple challenges faced by the industry. in terms of like defense agencies as facing day-to-day challenges, which are like unauthorized access to their premises, illegal crossings to the borders, safety risk, rapid response system required, sometimes it is missing, and situational awareness. Some of the isolated areas where that situation is not aware, so that can be monitored through the surveillance systems and can be give the rapid response system to the users. So Norden is offering that all kind of solutions which will deal with the challenges of the industry facing, whether it is a dual sensor high thermal camera, which will give you a wide angle coverage plus better image quality. We have that wide range of radar detection system also, which will give you that identification or classification of that any intrusion happening to your boundary. We have cameras which will give you a journal surveillance purpose also used, and we have a video analytics software which will give you the pre-alert threats of that any kind of intrusion or anything things happening in the system. So these are the areas where that products can be used, whether it is like checkpoints, critical infrastructure, indoor offices, vehicle surveillance, borders and gates, surveillance towers, and border patrol systems. Norden is offering that leverage into advanced technologies camera with real-time monitoring. You can, with a high resolution camera, you can do a online monitoring of that your locations or tactical positions where the camera is placed. Remote access can be possible. Anytime you can access the camera, and through the command control center, you can view the footage, changing the angles of the camera. You can zoom in, zoom out, different kind of features are available, which can do a remotely basis also. Like checkpoints, ANPR camera is very important, which will track you that what kind of vehicles are coming and going. Entry exit can be managed with the ANPR camera. They can maintain the entire log system of that things. Identification can be done with the help of that, and automated threat detection can also be. So like these are the solutions which automated number plate can be give. You can identify the vehicles, what kind of logging is there, asset management, you can do that thing, and real-time alerts can be generated, what is an authorized vehicle or what is an unauthorized vehicle, you can do that thing. Tagging also can be done. On that terms of critical parameter infrastructures, we have that perimeter protection camera, we have that 360-degree pan tilt zoom camera, which will cover that your perimeter surveillance kind of requirement, where we have that bispectrum camera. You can put a optical lens plus thermal lens also, that is starting range from that 500 meter to up to 20 kilometer kind of range is there, which can you deploy with the border security things. We have radar also, which will cover you that or give you that any kind of alerts or intrusion in your and that can be classified into that animal, human, vehicle, everything can be classified. We have that cameras which can be a long range parameters, night vision cameras which will take up to like a normal camera will give you a 500 meter IR kind of thing, and maximum we have that 1 kilometer IR also is available. So these are the applications where we can deploy that various type of cameras, which will give you that protect that security features of that your assets and areas. We have that normal cameras also, which can be used for your in-office cameras like box camera, bullet camera, can be take that activity logging and create a incident response system also. This is one of the important product we have. It is a body worn camera, which will be used for that border patrolling and give that online documentation evidence collection. You can connect that camera to that 3G, 4G SIM, and it will transmit that entire video footage to the command control center. And everything is be online recorded. Whenever the person is moving, it can be wear in the chest and can be recorded the evidences. Then we have the 360-degree vehicle surveillance camera, which can be put it on top of the vehicle, and you can do that surveillance system across that thing, and that have a low light capacity also, capability also. So these are some use cases where these products can be deployed, whether it is a military bases, naval vessels, airport and hangars, command centers, field operation. Some of the product we have already deployed in that defense segment, and those products are like very much appreciated by the department, because we have that customized the products as per the requirement of that defense units. Apart from that surveillance system, we also have the data communication cables. So all our that defense communication, it is like kind of that required a supported critical communication system where that data recovery and stability of the performance is very important, because that all the defense areas are covers under that electromagnetic field areas, where that cable quality is very important. So we have the different kind of cables, like we have that armored cables, double jacket cables, mineral insulated cables, which will work on that long distance and work on the harsh and conditions also, which will suffice the requirement of that thing. Apart from that, we have that high density panels also, which can be like scalable and compact in size, where you can have deployed the multiple channels of that fibers. Copper cables, all our cables have that EMI protection things, which can be very useful for the defense segment. Then we have that fire resistant cable also, which is like mainly into the CPR rated cable, which will give you the flexibility of that how much the cable or data can be survive into the system, hence fire will happen. So that kind of cables also we have. We have the fire alarm cable also, mineral insulated cable also we have, which will use for the command centers for the weapons and other things. Apart from that, we have intelligent PDU also, which will help you to do that critical defense systems or command control hubs surveillance, which can put it into that PDU kind of things. Apart from that standard cabling product, we have intelligent cabling solution also, which will be a mix of hardware as well as software combination. This will give you a real-time alerts, and it will work on the CPID technology, which is a connection point identification technology, which will give you a virtualization of entire infrastructure also, and you can do a online jobs done at your command control center with the help of that software, and that can help you into the terms of managing the assets also. We have public address system also, where we have a different kind of solutions, which will be used for that indoor solution also. We have that outdoor solution also, which can be like emergency call box system with have that inbuilt camera, which will give you the feed of that if somebody's happen SOS kind of button is there, which can give you the real-time scenario pictures where we can do that planning. And these are the different kind of products in that PA solution we have. We have that horn type speakers, wall mounted terminal boxes are there. We have a paging microphones and softwares, which will give you that directly communicate, real-time communication will be happen between that command control center to your strategic location. That's all, thank you.
Thank you, Parikshit Tiwari, for a very informative presentation on your various products, and I'm sure they're already highly deployed in a number of places already. I now call upon Mr. Mohit Gulati, the Head of Outbound Product Management of Google, to speak on his Google Cloud, Google Distributed Cloud. Mohit Gulati is the Head of Outbound Product Management in JPAC for Google Distributed Cloud. He works closely with the public sector and enterprise customers. He's a seasoned product leader with 15 years in product management. His expertise in data management technologies, including databases and data analytics with AI and ML. He's also been Google's flagship, a product manager for Google's flagship database called Cloud Spanner. So a very, very enriched experience in the field. Look forward to it.
Thank you, sir. And thank you to Bharat Exhibitions for the opportunity for Google to present to the industry. The mission at Google Cloud is to bring the data and AI innovation that Google is known for to all your data centers and on your premises. Security and trust is at the top of mind for every organization, specifically defense. But as your digital infrastructure footprint grows, your complexity also grows. So to manage different deployments in your data centers, in your different portable sites, and at the edge, you require a solution which can scale securely and go from all these different deployments. Today, I want to talk about our product, Google Distributed Cloud. My colleague, Mr. Pankaj Shukla, already spoke about it in the keynote. Today, as part of this technical presentation, I'll deep dive into one of the use cases that is a publicly referenceable use case from one of the air forces in the world, and talk about how we are bringing that data and AI innovation at the tactical edge that you can use for your forward deployments. All right, so we'll talk about the use case first, and what problem did we solve for our customer, what was the outcome of that problem. We'll then go into details of what was the hardware that enabled it and the technical specs of that hardware. And then lastly, I'll talk about what is the innovation that Google brought to the solution and how it works to solve that problem for the customer. And as Major General Anand said, we'll leave some time for Q&A as well, so that you can ask questions about the solution. All right, so let's start with the use case. This is a solution that we actually co-built with the US Air Force, which they call as innovation in a cloud or cloud in a box. This use case is built for aircraft sustainment, and the problem that we were trying to solve for the customer is that typically all aircraft maintenance used to happen with paperwork and binders, where airmen used to go to the hangars in forward deployments, collect all the data on a paper format, bring it back to the data centers, and then do manual data entry into multiple different systems where they had to log in. By the time they brought that data into the system, the data was already stale. So any reporting that you're doing on the system is now inaccurate. And that led to almost $500 million worth of aircraft mishaps from the period of 2018 to 2022. To solve this problem, Google and US Air Force co-developed this solution which could bring the data and AI innovation from Google to the tactical edge. All right, so this is what the solution looks like. On the right side, this is an actual user interface that we built on the system for US Air Force. And what it enabled was digitizing maintenance of logistics. So all the data that the airman is collecting on the field is actually now digitized. This leads to increased aircraft readiness because now your maintenance systems are more efficient. They are dealing with real-time data. And ultimately, this is a modernization of your logistics and your IT infrastructure. So to enable the modernization, this system was developed by Google Cloud and US Air Force. And as you can see on the right, this gives you now real-time data on what is the aircraft readiness for you so that you know at any given point of time what is the status of your supply chain operations and logistics. All right, so let's talk about how we enable this. At Google Distributed Cloud, these are the three different form factors in which we deploy at. The first one is the biggest, which is hundreds of racks which can form your data center. In the middle, you can also have portable and movable data operation centers or field operation centers where you can put a few of these racks in a container and create a field operation center in days and weeks instead of months. And on the right, we have the far edge, which is a tactical appliance, which is a 50-kilo box that can be easily lifted by 1 or 2 people and can be taken to your forward deployments. So as I said earlier, the mission at Google Cloud is to bring data and AI innovation anywhere, whether it be your data center or at the edge. So this is what the appliance looks like, and it is being used all over the world. It's available in India in Q1 next year. This is a portable, rugged appliance which can be used for forward deployments. It contains, it brings you 144 vCPUs. It also has a latest and greatest NVIDIA chip to power AI use cases. Also has terabytes of storage for all the use cases that it enables. It can also transfer data from the ruggedized box to the field operations center or to the racks. Not the least, it also brings the latest of Google innovation, like open source innovation like Kubernetes, and pre-trained models for speech-to-text, OCR, and translation so that you can use them right on the field. Also, I would like to call out that some of these components are actually being sourced, and there are plans to assemble this in India to be conformant with the Make in India initiative. All right, so these are all the capabilities that come along with the ruggedized box. As I said earlier, it does come with all the compute and storage that you would need for your use cases. It runs on a modern cloud, so it is all container orchestrated, so that you can bring in your workloads from any VMs and bring it onto the container. It also has the latest of data analytics capabilities that we offer to our customers on the Google public cloud. It is all based on open source technology, and this has been one of the key tenets of Google Distributed Cloud, that we want to run everything on open source technology. And the security for this box is built in and not bolted on. And it follows a principle of zero trust. If I forgot to mention it earlier, it is fully air-gapped. And even the data racks that it would connect to are fully air-gapped as well. So this is what the life cycle looks like for the tactical appliance. Google can give this to you as an OpEx offering, and Google installs and configures the system. We deliver it to the customer, and once you're done with it, you can return it to Google. We also expect it to never come back to us if it is lost in the field, and we can recover the data as well. All right. Let's go into the technical solution and how we managed it for the customer. So the problem that the customer was facing is that there were many, many data silos based on who owns the data, what is a secure space in which the data is, and for which mission the data is for. So aircraft maintainers who wanted to access this data could never actually bring all that data into one place, and they had to replicate the data in different data lakes and create many, many different APIs, which created a lot of overhead. What we did was we brought the power of Google APG to the tactical appliance, and using Google APG, we created this interface layer which made it very, very easy and dramatically simplified the architecture for the airmen to build applications which could talk to all of their different systems across maintenance, supply, logistics, and operations. This is what the architecture looks like. So on the top, they could consume the data which is coming from all of their backend systems, whether it be a parts database, a repair database, a toolbox database, or any of their supply chain, logistics, or operation systems. Using Apigee on the appliance, they could then build a front-end interface, a highly simplified front-end interface, where they could query anything that they want to and create reports based on all the data which is coming from these disparate systems. And mind you, this is all happening in an aircraft hangar. It is not happening on the public cloud or a data center. So this is all happening on a forward deployment. this is how we prescribe how appliances should connect across the different deployments for an organization. So at the bottom, you will see these are the tactical edge appliances. And these would then connect back to the regional operation centers or the field operation centers. They could be possibly set up in a container. And then the data from these could then go back to the headquarters or the large regions where there are multiple racks. So using this kind of a topology, you could actually bring the power of cloud and data appliances all across your deployments. And this will give you the highest level of sovereignty and survivability. All right, that's all I had for today's presentation. We have a few minutes for Q&A. We are also at the Google Cloud booth. There are a few representatives from Google here, so we're all here to answer your questions. And happy to take those questions. And thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mohit. As suggested, we'll take the questions after everybody's spoken. So do save up your questions, keep a note of them, and we'll definitely address them at the end of the session. So the next speaker is going to be speaking on inclusive automation and digitization of the Indian Army, the vision and implementation strategies. The speaker will be Major General A.K. Jha, the Additional Director General Information Systems of the Indian Army. My old colleague joined the Indian Army as an artillery officer in 1989 after training at the NDA and the IMA. He's a postgraduate in Management Studies and Technology, has the experience of having served in all kinds of environments: intense counterinsurgency, counter-terrorist, high-altitude, deserts, jungles, actually the works. He has tenanted multifarious appointments, commander and staff, and with his rich 35 years of experience now that he brings to his appointment as ADG IS, he's involved in steering some of the most interesting projects of the Indian Army. So request General Jha to enlighten us on what really is being looked into as the vision and implementation strategy.
Honorable Chairman, sir, distinguished panelists, and more learned people who are sitting in front. You see, actually, when there is a discussion on okay, so he has done his thing, and I'm more, I think, audible now. So, in any discussion or any panel, the most learned people are the ones sitting in front and listening to all the speakers. For the simple reason that they are seeking knowledge. They are ready to imbibe. So meanwhile, while the panelists are, thinking about what they are going to speak of and what, at the end of the speech, what they forgot to speak of, they get the people in front have actually focused on the entire lot. With that, I'll start. And being the only one dressed in kind of, clothes which make me resemble a tree or a bush, this is the dress of the day in my organization, hence this. The topic given to me is inclusive automation and digitization in the Indian Army. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we in the Indian Army are responsible for the entire land frontier. We are also responsible for land-related operations on the sea frontier or the air frontier. We are responsible for aid to civil authorities, HADR activities. In fact, name anything, we are the organization which is the go-to organization when everything else will fail. So we have to be prepared for all. And that is why the importance of information for us. Now, information exists in many forms. It may be structured, may be semi-structured, it may be unstructured, verbal, written, available somewhere, somehow. To be able to digitize it, we need to get it into a structured format first. Because unless you digitize it, you will not be able to collate, you will not be able to analyze, you will not be able to, look at patterns, fingerprint devices, fingerprint people, and thereafter find out any anomaly in what they were supposed to do and what they have done. These are important, not only for us, I think in all organizations also. Hence, you see, if you consider any organization, including the defense forces, there are basically three domains. There is an info domain, where info is floating around in those three formats and maybe some other formats. There is a cognitive domain, where people are taking decisions, people are deciding on the route forward, the way forward, what to do, what not to do, that's the cognitive. And then there is an action domain. In our case, action is that at the point of contact, we need to have more force or more speed than the adversary. In these three domains, the only thing that connects is automation and digitization. Information is available, but how will it flow in the form required, which will allow the cognitive domain persons to take a correct decision? You see, there is a UAV, you have sent it to go and observe something. UAV takes 2 hours flying time to go, 2 hours to come back. Actual observation is 45 minutes, 1 hour or something like that. If it stays in the station for quite too long, so you end up warning people. And by the way, I don't have any slides. There's a tyranny of PowerPoint. You write what you want to speak on the slide, and then people are reading it also and you're speaking it also. I would rather connect with my audience directly. Hence, I've deliberately, slides were there, but I didn't send it. I said, not required. I'll explain it to you, what we are doing. All of you are in the same field, and all of you are doing the same thing. So once this information comes, the person who is manning the ground control station of the UAV, see, it is a machine, it is a camera, and it will observe, it will record, the server will host, it will keep in the format that you require. But what is important is, those 45 minutes, is it? That is not important. Even those 45 minutes is not important. What is important is the change, the event that has occurred that you are looking for. You see, if I'm looking for a border intrusion and I send an UAV, I've got information that so and so time something will occur. The UAV will take off from some place, travel to that destination, keep floating around on top and observing. But that particular act will be of, say, 1 minute, half minute. Sometimes there are 20, 30 seconds. So that is the time that has to be focused on. Rest of the entire recording, entire time is actually wasted. It is not required, and that personal is not required. Here comes automation. AI is the only thing that can help us in this. Otherwise, you keep observing. Now you have got multiple cameras, multiple types. One of the speakers just, gave us a peek into the type of cameras, right from 500 meters to 20 kilometers. All those cameras are there. Each camera ends up in on a glass pane. There has to be someone watching that glass pane. So if there are 100 cameras, 100 people watching, or you have a huge screen with 32 or 16 chote glass panes, and then you take a toss. Let me see 3. Let me see 5. While you are watching 5, something occurs in 6. So that is the importance of AI. Change detection, to be able to detect change. To be able to detect change, it has to first identify objects. To identify objects, there has to be machine learning to be able to catch on to the points based on which that object will be identified. A tank, for instance. Tank, looks different from every angle. You see from any angle, it will look different. Then someone will shove it under a tree, so you can see only the tail portion of it. Tail portion, say, most of the tanks look the same. especially the exhaust portion. Now, someone will put a camouflage net on top. Do you see a faint outline? There is something below it. Which tank is below it is very important, because the type of tank will decide whether it will fire on you from 1000 meters or from 4 kilometers. The type of ammunition that will come on you depends on the type of tank. So you have to identify the tank. Now, for that you require millions and millions of photographs before a speaker alluded to it, to be able to train your models on it. So we are presently involved in it. Indian Army understands the importance of automation, digitization. Automation, digitization in fact, has been going on for quite some time in the Indian Army. And digital sensors, digital data is available in various silos. The task now that we are being confronted with and we are dealing with is getting all that information together in the form in which people can use it. MET. Let's talk about MET. Meteorological information is the most important information available. It affects everything, including whether your kid will go to school that day or not, including whether the school bus will reach or not, or while reaching it will spray water on you or not. You know, right from there to the time you woke up in the morning. MET affects everything. It affects all our actions. So we have created applications which is sourcing MET information from the IMD and is being able to provide to all the tri-services on an hourly basis for a 3-day cycle in future. So you can plan your operations for tomorrow generally, and just before launching you can again have a check. That is how MET is being handled with us. What we did was, data, before you start using data, you need to have identify who is the SSOT for that data. A lot of people will bandy around the same kind of data, but there has to be one single source of truth for that data. So that has been identified in the Army. We have created SSOT list, we have created a data dictionary, and as per that, all applications that are being made are following it. All sensors that we are buying are following a set technical specifications which have been published. We got UAVs and quadcopters, each of them transmitting on different formats. Some of those formats are not conducive to, kind of combine and read. So therefore these specs have been laid out. I'll take your minds back to the Israel-Hamas war which is going on, and about a year back it started. I would like to ask a question, especially to the youngsters. You tell me, a country which has got such a powerful military that not many years ago it brought all its opponents on their knees at the same time. A country whose secret service is considered to be the best. A country which doesn't take time in making decisions and then carrying it out. Remember Entebbe, remember all these activities that they have done. Still they got surprised. Any idea why? Is it because they did not have information? Information was there. They had themselves agreed to it. Information was there in various forms. For 1 year, people had been rehearsing. People had been preparing, making tunnels. They had that information. It was the lack of being able to connect the dots. Now, connection of the dots. It happens in all organizations, including companies also. Earlier, we used to be, we had that problem of leafing through multiple sheets of paper in dusty files, finally getting some information, then again leafing through another 20, 30, ये topic है. फिर वो पढ़ा, then you make something, then you get tired, you say, बस हो गया, ये answer. That has been, overcome by automation. but now there is surplus information. There is so much information that there is a deluge. So that information is actually causing you to not being satisfied with your decision, because there is always some information that you have not gone through. Hence the requirement of analysis, hence the requirement of summarizations, hence the requirement of clear-cut process flows, decision points. This will be decided upon by only these following things. This has been done in the 16 tech clusters that has been referred to by General Anand. This is the task that is being done, so that it is clearly laid down what information will be catered, what will be understood, what will be used, and what kind of decision will be taken. AI helps a lot in this. Unfortunately, we have only 2 or 3 Indian models. Rest are all foreign models of generative AI. And despite the hallucinations that they are wont to, and despite their own warped sense of what is right, what is wrong, so which seeps into their answers, still it gives you the capability to, process large amounts of information, get multiple types of answers. So multiple iterations are easily done. That is what we are also trying to utilize and use. And with that, I come to the end of my talk. If there is anything else that anyone would like to understand or speak, we can handle it during the question answer session. And I hope the lack of slides didn't bother many. Thank you very much.
Thank you, General Jha, for putting across so succinctly and with your typical sense of humor. You can be rest assured there will be some questions. So the next thing on the agenda is a theme called Enhancing Defense Infrastructure through Next-Gen Surveillance Innovations. And for this, we have a very knowledgeable person in the form of Mr. M.A. Johar, the President of Strategic Business CP+. Mr. Johar is an industry veteran leading the strategic business, leveraging his 30 years experience to propel multinational brands towards unprecedented growth. He has a mastery of strategic projects transforming India's security landscape. He's good at deciphering market trends and customer demands. At the moment, he leads CP+'s mission to provide comprehensive surveillance solutions to government and to all of us. He is attempting to elevate national security standards and reinforcing the nation's security infrastructure. Look forward to what you have to say, Mr. Johar.
Thank you, General Anand. Thank you, the esteemed speakers sitting on the dais and the learned audience, delegates. Thank you, Bharat Exhibition, for giving a company or giving us a chance to explain or to inform you that how Made in India or Made in Bharat is progressing in India with a mission of Atmanirbhar Bharat. That is one part. The second message which I want to give is that to make your security more secure. This is what is the mission which India is taking on. And the best part of it is that now India is ready and working on their own standards which are made in India for Made in India products. So that is how we start with. CP Plus journey is for about 17 years now. We started in 2007 when the cameras was luxury, and now moved on as the industry evolved, moved on to the India's largest manufacturer of CCTV cameras. So we have got about 30,000 partners in every corner of India, covering all 450 towns of India, We have got about 1,000 plus employees serving to those partners and making it a family. Then about 54 offices across India. The best thing is that when it comes on to the Indian manufacturing or making India our Atmanirbhar, we were the first one to start the factory in 2017 at Tirupati. And when the industry evolved and the requirement have gone high for the CCTV cameras and it becomes the necessity, so we have enhanced the capacity of this and built up a new factory at Kadapa, which was operational for past 1 year now, and which is world's third largest. And if you leave aside the friend countries, it is India's largest and the world third largest factory which we have built up. This is with the mindset of giving all Indian customers the services what India needs. Because these are the products, these are the eyes and ears of you, the surveillance guys. The surveillance guys are sitting, as Jalja rightly said, is that it is not the sensor, but now the age have come that it is the analytics which is more required on. Sensors you can see, but the thing you want is that actual analytics. So, though I have a presentation, sir, but I'll just go through it on this. I'll not spend much time because these are an important topic, and it means it takes hours to explain that complete analytics and product line what we have. But I'll just touch upon and give you a glimpse. And I allow Bharat exhibition, and I request Bharat exhibition that if any of you want this presentation, they can share it with you. More than that, we have the stall there, so we can explain, and we would be happy to explain our product line there. So this is our manufacturing plant, which is at Kadapa, which I just said. The mission is that we need manpower also, which is indigenized handling these things. So for that, we have started a Mission Tech program to train the last person, the installers at the villages and the remote places. So we have done almost 80,000 people we have trained for, which are now either entrepreneur or providing services to the remotest places of India. The idea is that the services should reach you within no time and with the expert hand and the skills hands. These are the product line, right from the basic product for the home product, with the retail market, the enterprise writing. We have all the premium product to serve the esteemed customers, Indian armies, the police. We have got all police stations of about 7 states we have done. We have installed about 140,000 cameras. Even in Delhi, we have installed about 160,000 cameras in all Delhi schools, which are now, you call it as the smart schools. So these are the product lines. So I'll not go into each product, but yes, all complete range, fully indigenized, we have that with us. These are the solutions what we have for every market segments. We have the solutions, banking, education, hospitality, industries, everywhere we can work out. For defense, we are serving for long. For police, we are serving for long. And it is all cameras are going on. The best part is that our R&D now is so strong that even onto the old installed cameras, we are providing the analytics as and when required by the customers, developed by our in-house team to cater to their security requirements. So this is what is the major thing. Now, these solutions, what I have, I'm trying to showcase here is related to the security services, border entry exit, perimeter securities, and you heard all these, that how it works and all from my earlier colleagues and speakers. Emergency SOS, smart poles, mobile solutions, body worn for the time, like I'll just give you a glimpse of it. These are the secure region of interest, like land borders, border patrol, military barracks, mountain, wherever you want, we are providing security. Vehicle license plate detections, this is automatic number plate reading, this is standard cameras. We have very smart cameras for this, already deployed for almost 6-7 years, working very fine, and giving you the configuration, the kind of configuration you want, and developing the R&D the way you want it. Because as Sir said, that it takes years or months to make the system, make the machine learn for the data or with the data, and we have all that data available for our long-standing things and for our long-standing operations in each segment of the industry. Similarly, border entry exit with the automatic number plate, we have got boom barriers and ANPR integration so that no block vehicle or the black vehicles can enter into the systems. You can have immediate alert onto the control room. Similarly, if you go on border entry exit, you can have face readings at every border. You can like it's like Digi Yatra. So same passion, same thing we can provide at the border gate, so that the only authorized person can cross the borders or the gate where you want it. Intrusion detection through different modes. We have got integration with vibration sensors. We have got integration with ground surveillance radars. So if a person is entering into a border and a vibration sensor sent a message to the control room, our camera takes the picture of that what it is. So it basically reduces the false alarms. And after that, our PTZ get on it, and wherever he is moving, he just follow that path. And at the same time, alert the rapid action team in the field to catch him on. So this is how our complete parameter solution, integrated parameter solution is working on, which is the requirement that not only the camera, about 3 sensors, because our Indian conditions are different, and in every conditions you have to work in a different way. In fog, you have to take radar's help. In foliage and this environment, you have to take help of thermal cameras and all. So this is how we are working on with the experience and providing right kind of solution. So this is how everywhere it is going, that how to make it accurate. Smart parameter intrusion detection. Then, as I said, that thermal cameras with foliage and all. Now, restrict area loitering detection, that if somebody is getting into a restricted area, then you can work it out. Now, I leave side presentations, I'll follow that up because that would take time. I just want to give you 2-3 messages here. One is that the complete solution should be workable. The second is that as Indian governments have recently come out with gadget notifications and all, that every camera into the system should be STQC certified. So we proudly say that we have already got models which are STQC certified, and we are giving that. So all standards now, as I said earlier, are made in India. Now the second stage is coming on, that even to the private agencies or to the home product, it is for everybody. From 1st April onward, even if you want to sell a camera into a private shop, you also have to have that checked with STQC, which is MeitY, which is the government lab under MeitY. And the BIS would be given to those guys only who has got STQC cleared. So this is what is the message which I want to give you, that the indigenization of these security product is on the agenda of the government and the prime agenda of the government, and government is working on that, and we are supporting on to this. So this is what is one thing. The second is that for the Indian conditions or for the Indian market, we are open, and we invite you for all the applications you have in mind, so then we can develop that with our R&D team and make you or provide you the actual thing what you want to secure your area. because everyone would have a different requirements, we can understand that. So very strong R&D analytics team in India to work in Indian conditions and to understand those Indian environment. We are there to help you. So this is what we want to work on. And with this, like I just want to give, we have got all mobile solutions in vehicles. To increase your system efficiency, we have got our own EVMS, which is basically the control room of the system, which is the heart of the system, and we can control that health check system of all the cameras working in the field that you can have. So the major thing is that be Indian, buy Indian, and with these Indian products, we can serve the forces to secure in a better way. So this is what I want to say, that Upar wala sab dekh raha hai, and you are all Upar walas which want to see. So we want to help you that what you want to see, you please come to us and we'll help in that. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Thank you, Mr. Johar. We'll move on to the next agenda. So this theme is on AI enabling intelligence operations and cyber resilience. And we'll have one of our most distinguished speakers in this, Major General Manish Mehta, who's an ex-ADG SIG Int at headquarter IDS. So Mehta retired voluntarily after 35 years as a Corps of Signals officer. He has had a very balanced mix of assignments, which has included communication, cybersecurity, training, HR management, and military operations, which included a foreign mission in Bhutan. He was also part of the Defense Cyber Agency and assisted the NSCS in coordinating the draft committee for the National Cybersecurity Strategy. He's recently retired, and I'm sure he'll be able to bring a lot of focus onto cyber resilience and intelligence operations. Look forward to his inputs, and I'm sure there'll be some questions on him as well. Over to you, Manish.
Thank you so much, sir, for that introduction. Thank you to everyone here, the audience. I think my colleague, General Jha, he's beaten me by 2 slides. He didn't have any slides, so I have 2, but they'll come up at the relevant time. So when it was, it's already there, so you can put it on blank. When this topic came up and I chose it, I already knew I'd bitten off more than I could chew. But I think these are 2 fields, intelligence operations and cybersecurity or resilience, which I've been associated with, and I feel confident about it. AI, of course, is a different beast. We hear about it a lot. So first few minutes, let me just take you through the journey of AI. I think it's extremely important for all of us to know what can it do. I mean, I'm sure we all use the ChatGPT, but the story started more than half a century ago, 1950, with the Turing test, the imitation game. The term was coined in 1956 by John McCarthy. And you had 2 approaches actually to automation, deep automation. A normal program approach called the symbolic approach, and the connectionist approach, which mirrors the human brain. And that is what was followed. You had a sort of a single-layered neural network which came up very famously called the perceptron, covered in all teachings of AI today by Rosenblatt. It was only somewhere in the mid-2010s, there was a huge ice age that AI came back for 2 reasons: compute and data. Stronger compute, cheaper compute, huge data. And that's the only reason for AI to come back. Now, I'm sure you've heard about the series of AlphaGos. AlphaGo Master, which beat the best Go player. Go is a very abstract and contextual game. You thereafter had, 4 months later, the AlphaGo Zero. Now, the first version was fed a lot of games. The second version was only fed the rules. And within a few days, it could beat everyone. You also had something called transferring abilities, a very important part of intelligence. And that happened with Alpha Zero. Within 4 hours, it was trained for Go, within 4 hours being fed the rules of chess, it beat every machine learning chess player in the world. That's the time frame. And mu0 now, which is still alive, was not even fed the rules. That is how it started in the mid-2000s. Of course, one huge problem was language. It couldn't take on any language games, and that is how you had the large language models, a certain class in that called the transformers, which focused on a concept of attention, focusing on its computational power on a certain part of its input. You have something called parameters, granularity with which prediction can be made. More the parameters, more the compute, more the cost. So in 2019, you had GPT 2 coming up with 1.5 billion parameters, and today you have GPT-4 with 1.76 trillion parameters. So we moved on, but what does AI still lack? 3 major things: contextual memory, social interaction, and common sense. And work is being done in these fields. So just a few, of course, before that, data. Now, data is something that General Jha spoke about. Any application, any model being trained, you need data. So we need to find out, the industry needs to find out if we are going to make models, where will they get the data from? If it is bespoke defense application, does defense have the data? That needs to be looked into. Somebody spoke about the edge of the tactical thing. Now, while you had large language models, there is something called small language models. Now, people are talking about it. They are cheaper, sub 2 billion parameters. Ideal for private organizations where you want to handle data very carefully. The industry can look at the ROI that is there, but this is something manageable, and you also have use case-based LLMs now. What has happened in the last 2 months is something special, and that is agentic AI. It's being called the third wave after predictive, generative, and agentic. And we are moving, from just AI assistant just responding to something, these agents alone or in concert taking action. So we have Microsoft's Magnetic, we have Anthropic's computer use. Mustafa Suleiman saying he's already cracked the contextual memory, that is Microsoft, from reactive chatbots to proactive companions. Search is a huge thing. I'm sure all of you have been on Perplexity AI. Open source models, Llama, AlphaFold. Now, there is a huge thing whether we should make our foundational models in LLM or go by open source models. It's a debate for maybe another day. The Chinese are not far behind. Their sort of godfather Kai-Fu Lee claims that they can do it in 1/30th of the cost. That's their claim, and possibly they're moving towards it. But let me, before I end this little thing on AI, by all conservative timelines, by all the thought leaders, artificial general intelligence is coming upon us by 2029. We are already in 2025. There are only 4 years. So as the defense forces and as the industry is supporting it, you need to see where we are going, because we'll be left behind the curve. Now, as far as the intelligence operations are concerned, can I have the slide? Intelligence, ladies and gentlemen, a human is one part of it, but mostly it has moved towards tech-int, at least the initial tip and cue. And some slides are very simple, but they are very profound. It starts with the operational environment. This is maybe at the edge. The first two, that is the operational, where the collection is happening, processing and exploitation in the center, they could be together also. And of course, at the highest headquarters, you have the analysis and production of an end product. Now, just like military operations, int operations also have an OODA loop. You have to get within the adversary's OODA loop, and it is not days anymore, it is not hours anymore, it could be minutes. And here I'm not talking about targeting intelligence. That's a different animal altogether. Conventional and CI/CD ops, again, completely different forms of intelligence. OSINT is a huge game changer. Somebody's talked about conventional to OSINT 20-80 ratio, already getting flipped to 80-20. There are other agencies which are doing intelligence other than defense forces. They have huge amount of data sets. And of course, all this on a GIS. So what do we want to do? I think if you look at the small language models or agentic AI, can you move functions which are happening largely in the last two layers or the last layer to the edge? I think that is what the industry needs to look at. There are four major functions: deep analysis, predictive analysis, sharing, and lastly, or it's in a random order, fusion of intelligence. Now, a lot of this, except sharing, is happening possibly at the last layer. Translation is maybe happening in the center. Can we have a SLM residing on a platform with enough compute at the edge doing all this? Coupled with OSINT, giving it a geographic and an operational context through OSINT. Imagine the power of that platform if it can come at the edge or even in the center. So if I can say what is the dreamy idea, this is what I would want. I would want a platform at the edge with both conventional and OSINT merged. If somebody can make that, it'll do a lot of good. Now, as far as cyber is concerned, there are both sides to it. You have defensive, offensive. Intuitively, I would say defense is still ahead because people don't talk about offensive. As far as cyber defense is concerned, we already have a sort of gold standard called the Zero Trust Architecture, and it has proper AI use cases, starting from identity to data with endpoint devices in between. One of the most terrific use cases is vulnerability discovery in software. Google has just discovered 26 exclusively through AI in the OpenSSL library. You have a very peculiar form of malware called ransomware, very devastating. Huge use cases for prophylactic actions on anti-ransomware. But the defense services have an air-gap network. And one of the biggest disadvantages is insider threats. We too are connected to the internet. We have internet-facing apps, their protection. Two major functions that we carry out: audit, forensics. Now, all this can be handled through agentic AI, through having agents. A very major part is spent in doing audits. Most importantly, we, our families, are a huge threat surface as far as influence operations are concerned through the cyber domain. This is something we are not addressing. And AI has tremendous use cases in this. Each and every vehicle, each and every platform of ours today is a computer. You have vendors, third-party supply chain infections that have taken place. I'm sure you heard about XZ utilities or the Log4j hack. All that happens through supply chains. That supply chain has to be monitored and managed. If I have to look at offensive, I won't speak much about it. We would want more people getting into this field. The future is polymorphic malwares, which sort of encounter an environment and morph. They are cognitive. And of course, influence operations. I'm sure there are people doing this, but more than defense, we need to get aggressive and do offensive cyber-enabled influence operations. If I have to say something in the end, cybersecurity for AI and AI for cybersecurity are two very different things. I very briefly mentioned what AI can do for cybersecurity. Cybersecurity for AI is a very different beast. And whatever AI models we introduced, their cybersecurity will be of paramount interest to the industry. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Manish. Just can't resist a couple of comments. You've triggered off a few thoughts, and one thing we'll have to be very careful about as we go into this more and more in terms of AI is the black box phenomenon. So neural networks throw out some outputs at us. We'll have to be very careful about how those outputs are really analyzed and interpreted in the initial stages. Otherwise, we are going to end up coming up with all kinds of wrong results. So it's a careful path to tread and very very definitive results will have to be seen. Otherwise, we'll get hallucinating outputs. And we'll also have to be, as you said, cybersecurity, we'll have to be very careful about data poisoning. Otherwise, we'll get negative inputs. Just can't resist saying that, we all depend on ChatGPT a lot these days. And what is the transparency index which IBM has given? ChatGPT 4.0 today has got a transparency index of only 49%. So what you are getting out of that is just that much reliable, and the transparency is only so much. So we need to be very, very careful when we utilize AI in these formats. And the other thing that that was mentioned earlier, but just touched upon, was compute speeds. So with another 5, 7 years, 10 years maybe, we'll have quantum really taking over all our cryptography, and we'll find that we have been penetrated deeply. India today is looking at raising compute speeds from maybe 6 to 14 qubits, and that's what came out in the last effort by the NQM. And IISc is leading it along with a few partners. The Chinese are at 1200 qubits. The Americans are at 1200 qubits. And there are claims made by the Chinese that they're, in some cases, touching 6,000 qubits. We don't have to go by what they exactly say. Part of it could also be rhetoric. But they are definitely way ahead, and there's so much focus that needs to be brought in. So I think those of us who are still in service in government and those of us who are in industry need to club together with government and make sure that we are able to achieve all these tough standards that we have in front of us. Yeah, sorry for the digression, but I now look forward to the next speaker, and I'll request the next two speakers to keep to 10 minutes so that we keep within our time frames and don't keep everyone away from lunch. I request to speak on AI-driven surveillance and digital security solutions, I request Mr. Arul Ratan Singh to come forward. He's the director of Madras Security Printers, Chennai, and has consistently driven innovation and excellence across various domains. He was awarded by the government of Tamil Nadu for successful implementation of a statewide e-governance program, which is covering 1.5 crore families and providing cashless health insurance. Madras Security Printers is a leading system integrator, and we would love to hear about what you have to offer.
Thank you, General Pawan, for the introduction. So we would like to take the presentation in 3 parts. A very warm welcome to everyone. First part, we will talk about MSP and what we do. Second part, we would talk about cyber security and physical security. And third part, how we bring a combined solution to both in real world and real time. So MSP as a company was started in 1976. So we have security in our DNA. We started with the vision to secure government documents like passports, visas, checkbooks, demand drafts, postage stamps. So with the evolution of times, we have evolved, and today we are working in surveillance and cyber security. So we have 4 decades of experience in establishing complicated and solving problems for governments and state governments and central government departments. We have established data centers and command centers for many metro cities. We are also certified to ISO standards and multiple CMMI standards. So we have a global footprint, taking Indian industry across the globe for our specific niche of security and security printing. So we are certified to certain high levels of standards. So if you take CMMI level 5 is the highest standard for software quality. We are also certified by RuPay, which is NPCI, National Payments Corporation of India, Visa and MasterCard. So our data center is secure to hold banking level data. So we are also received several other awards. So this is a brief about MSP. So we are a trailblazer in e-governance and solutions for governments. So we provide turnkey system integration services. So whether it is the civil part of establishing a data center or command center, setting up the, doing the cold shell, warm shell, then procurement of the software, hardware, designing the requirements along with the customer, sizing what is the number of licenses or hardware they require. So when you talk about AI, what is the compute speed we need to run certain number of models, and at what throughput those models have to be run. So we work along with the customers and define the entire solution. And then we move to execution of the entire solution, and we maintain the project for 5 years or 3 years as per the contract duration. So these are our these are our value propositions. We have a quick turnaround time. We have a very good team in-house, proven experience, and track record of being in the industry for 40 years. So these are some of our solutions. I will quickly skip through this. Command control centers, ICT infrastructure. We have smart track and trace solution, which is predominantly used by excise departments in state governments. And for traffic management, for AI-based traffic signal management, we have a product. And for AI-based solid waste management, which are all subjects of another discussion. And so smart surveillance and NOC. So India's vulnerability to cyber attacks. So last year, India has recorded 15 lakh complaints, which is the recorded complaints, and 85% of the complaints related to online fraud. So why cyber security matters for national defense? So disruption of critical infrastructure, espionage and data theft, sabotage of weapon systems, and cyber attacks on strategic assets. Cyber attacks in the sense it may be disengaging the asset or making it malfunction. So these are some of the recent attacks which are available in the public domain. In May 2024, other countries, hackers targeted defense sectors through phishing attacks through email. Ransomware attack on AIMS crippled the operations for weeks. And then the Volt Typhoon attack in US and other countries targeted the critical infrastructure. You also see global, recently we know the Cloudflare incident where even airports were shut down because of the attack through the Microsoft. And other ongoing threats which we hear about every day. So today it has become a digital battlefield. It is more easier for someone to attempt to retrieve a piece of information through the network rather than physically penetrating a well-guarded or well-defended army base anywhere. So that is where we see government also investing a lot of money in protecting the cyber landscape. So this is the need for cyber security. We have proactive threat detection, compliance with regulations, and incident response. So once a threat is detected, how do we respond to the incident and how we can automate that through a standard operating process. So now we move to physical security. We'll come back where they both interlink with each other. So we have physical security also has the same parameters. As we monitor a threat, we need to monitor how the threat is real-time captured, and then how the physical security and cyber security can be monitored from a single command control center. Otherwise, we would be having silos of information and different platforms running, which government or the department needs to monitor so that the information can be correlated. So this is an example of the command control center we have set up for the Chennai police. We have integrated all their security operations center, their SOC operations, their physical surveillance operations, all into a single data center and command control center. So like eminent speakers before me were mentioning, so there are 3 layers to any security. First is we have the data which is coming in, we have the video data or the cyber, the alerts coming in from your SIEM or online platform which you may be using to monitor. So what do we do with those alerts? So first we need to qualify whether that is a genuine alert or it is a false alert. So what our platform does is when we get any alert from a video or any feed, it sends it to a operator. So the operator can qualify whether that alert is a genuine alert or not. So if we are defining a boundary, so the video management system or the analytics system detects there is an object crossing that boundary. So the operator will classify whether it is an object is a threat or not a threat. Based on that, the platform has a standard operating procedure. So the customer will define that if this is the particular threat, this is the operating procedure, and the process is automated. So we have deployed this kind of video analytics solutions with automated threat response. We'll come to that later. So we have integrated dashboards which the system will bring out once the threat is established. So physical threats can be correlated with cyber threats. Let's say you have access control alert which is coming. There is somebody who is making multiple access attempts at a system, entering the wrong password. So this alert can be immediately thrown up with the control room, and the camera feed of that particular room or that location will be opened in the control center immediately. So there are machine learning models which can be used for this. Next. Yeah, so coming back to the Chennai project, we have installed around 5,250 surveillance cameras across 1,750 locations across the city, all running AI-based surveillance, all generating alerts which the police qualifies in real time, and they are able to take proactive action. So we have a command control center, data center and disaster recovery center, as well as a cyber forensic lab. So if there is any threat or any identified vehicle which is identified as a threat, then the police can also retrieve the evidence like mobile phones or other electronic items from that vehicle or target, and data can be retrieved and forensics can be run across those devices. So these are the AI use cases which we have implemented in Chennai. So camera tampering. So if there is any chain snatching or handbag, the system automatically detects and throws up the alerts. Crowd detection, if there is crowd formation in any location beyond a defined number of people, the system throws up the alerts. Vandalism to public property or private property throws up the alerts. Intrusion detection, mobile snatching, object classification, people fighting. So all these alerts are generated in real time. So we have an object classification module where the system can detect between a human, vehicle or animal. So same can be used to detect any drones or any other models which the system can be trained. So even we have a use case of women surrounded by men, so which is deployed by the police in around the women's colleges. So if there is a group of men surrounding a woman, proactive action can be taken before any untoward incident happens. So these are all real world use cases where AI is helping people in real time. So this is about the cyber forensic lab where the following tools are deployed. So police can, whenever they retrieve any person, so they can recover the complete data from his mobile. So if he is part of a larger conspiracy or any data which is not divulged can be retrieved. So we also have a social media analysis tool where the social media footprint of the person can be built up. So thank you everyone. We have a booth in this exhibition. If you need any further information, we'll be glad to meet with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Arul, for outlining to us, the powerful technologies that you have brought in, all AI enabled. I now request the next speaker to speak on tactical communication systems, new developments. Another colleague of mine, Colonel Anshul Verma, presently posted as in the Director General of Signals, Army Headquarters. He's the Director of Mobile Communications and Tactical Communication Systems. He's also carrying out capital procurement of large cellular technologies and conception and induction of tactical communication systems for the Indian Army. He's an MTech in Telecom System Engineering from IIT Kharagpur And of course, his bachelor's in engineering is electronics and telecom. He's got 22 years of experience in the field. Look forward to it. And Anshul, we've got,
Sure, sir.
if you can keep it as short as possible,
yes.
within 10 or less than
Definitely,
that.
sir. I knew it since the time the program figured that my name was just before the lunch. I knew I had to cut it short. And being the last speaker also has got certain advantages. Already what I'm going to speak has been spoken. So nothing that I'll be speaking here will be new for the audience. I'll just try to summarize it. So the topic that is given to me is tactical communication systems, new development, a topic which is definitely close to my heart, being from PMO TCS, Tactical Communication Systems section. However, I'm also wearing the hat of procurement. We do procurement in our section. So first couple of slides will be on procurement, and thereafter I'll deep dive, not exactly, but a very brief thing about the technology that I perceive will be the future for tactical battlefield. Okay, so this simple looking slide has been one of the major hindrances for introduction of any technology in Indian Army for a very, very long time. Case in point being one of the most prestigious project of Corps of Signals, which got delayed by 20 to 25 years due to some of the reasons which are mentioned here. Besides this, the rapid growth, change in the technology, the timelines of procurement of Indian Army, they also played certain roles. But this approach needs to be bridged. We both are going in different directions. We lay too much of emphasis on security, industry is interested in revenue, and the good thing is that the bridge is being built. Today, as already spoken in the earlier one, they've spoken about IDEX, Aditi. We'll have some sessions post-lunch where a person from DDP will be coming and they'll be talking about the procurement procedures, how they've now been optimized for faster procurement. But having said that, a lot more needs to be done here. So what is happening presently, as I'm talking about purely from procurement point of view, we can divide the communication in Indian Army primarily into static and tactical communication. What is happening is whatever technology today is coming, at most in its raw form, in its original form, we can utilize it in the static communication. Industry is doing very little amount of tweaking to make it a military technology and then give it to tactical communication. As a result, what is happening? A large number of technologies that we have spoken about today, they are falling flat when they are tested and trialed in field environments. What needs to be done is the technology first should be created here for tactical communication. They should be suitably modified. And you can mark the words that if any technology which tastes the water of tactical communication, it is definitely, you just have to scale it up and it will be good to go for any static communication. This is not a new concept. This has happened earlier. In 2G, one of the technologies was frequency hopping, and in 3G, spread spectrum. Both these technologies were made for armies, defense. But what happened was, after the 3G, there was a realization that mobile market has got a lot of potential, lot of revenue. And then came 4G, which totally missed any requirement of defense services. And that is why you see the proliferation of 4G in defense is still very, very minimal. The problem was rectified, and thereafter, now we have 5G and 6G, which specifically speaks about the requirement of defense, including network slicing, IOMT, and in 6G, of course, we are now going to bring AI, whatever has been spoken. 6G will be able to leverage all of that and provide it at the edge. Having said that, now we look at towards what does a tactical battle area, which we've been speaking about since morning, actually looks like. Now this is a complex, this is going to be how complex the battle of future are going to look like. A very few of us, especially officers of my age and service, I'll not speak about the generals who are sitting here, have seen anything similar like this. So if we have not seen it, how do we expect industry to understand this complex scenario and make some solutions for us? So that brings the onus on us, people in uniform, that we have to give a very crisp requirement to the industry of what do we need. Also, another thing that is looking very predominant here is the era in future is going to be wireless. So while not in the domain of projects and products, spectrum utilization and spectrum management is going to play a very important role in the future. Having said that, what we perceive in future, the one technology that is going to fulfill, okay, so with that, what is it that we want? What is it that we are looking for? We are looking for integration of these large number of sensors, communication, non-communication elements within the tactical battle area, also with the strategic network. We have already achieved a lot of digitization in the battle area. Now is the time to move forward for IPization. We want flexibility. The modules, the power modules should be the same. The charging ports should be the same. The charging voltages should be the same. We want standardization. Already, the previous speaker spoke about how standardization has come in the field of cameras. We want more standardization in the field of communication equipments. Security will always remain paramount for us. Power, something that is often neglected, one of the most important aspects of communication. And last but not the least, mill grade. All the solutions that you have seen till now, they all are in a very, very controlled environment, air-conditioned, HVACs. But when you put them at 15,000, 16,000 feet, or when you put them in Rajasthan in minus 50, in 40 to 45 degrees centigrade, how do they perform there? What is the end state that we are looking for? We want a modular and IP-based communication system with high data rates, integrated users, very quick to deploy, time is of essence in tactical battle area, ease of use. The user is somebody who is probably 10th or 11th pass, a diploma holder. Self-adapting, that is where a lot of AI aspects can be incorporated, can be developed further as per the speed of the way technology is evolving. And lastly, as I had already mentioned, efficient utilization of spectrum. We feel that 5G and 6G are going to be the future technology of battlefield, which are going to address most of the requirements that whether we have spoken about AI, ML, so many other aspects that we have spoken. If we have 5G and 6G as a platform, what are the peripheral technologies that can come? So IoT, wearables, they all are written. None of them is something which we don't know about, but we feel that 5G and 6G are going to be the drivers of these technologies. And just to now bring out some of the use cases, these are all perceived, this is all work in progress. These will get evolved over a period of time. Okay, so these are some of the actions that take place in a tactical battle area, be it combat search and rescue, MAD-evac, voice virtualization, electronic warfare, and what are the technologies that we see are going to support these operations in the tactical battle area. All these slides are taken from the open domain. There is nothing no security related issues in this. The slides will be available here. Anybody wants to take, they can take it. With this, I'm done. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Anshul. You've left a lot of food for thought. And I'll quickly open the house to questions in case there are any. Kindly raise your hand and I will, and keep the question specific to one person and in 2 lines, so that we are all taking care of everybody else's time. May I request the gentleman over there? Yes. We'll come to you next, please.
So my name is Kishore Narang. I'm a system design architect in digital infrastructure. I've been always working on cutting edge technology. So I think I'm seeing a lot of overhype about AI, and people are like trying to rely too much on it. I don't think it is that reliable yet, and you have already raised a few points, but I think we need to be a bit, take a word of caution when deploying or applying AI everywhere, because everybody's saying in 5G, 6G you'll have AI native. But no, I think AI still needs a lot of nurturing, a lot of control, safe and safety of AI, like black box you mentioned. We do not know what the outcome would be. And if you use it in a tactical this thing, how can we rely on it? Governance is one of the things. So
Thank you.
any structured approach that defense you will be applying for leveraging AI? That is my question is this. Because it's not, it's a whiz kid on the block, can create a lot of disruption.
Point taken. I'll take another question first and then we'll come to the responses. So this question I'm going to request General Jha to take on later. May I have the gentleman at the back? He raised his, and I think that's the last question and then we'll run out of time. Yeah.
Hi, my question is to Mohit, the Googles, this all the development on the open source, but how you're going to bridge that security requirement what the defense forces has, and also the sovereignty of the data, particularly if we're talking about the defense environment.
Fair question. Yeah. Last question, please.
Good afternoon, sir. I am Commodore Pradeep Kumar, retired from Indian Navy. My question is about the ethical issues involved in the AI. Can the panelist throw some light on that, sir?
Yeah, I'll do that. Thank you. I'll go with General Jha first.
I'm totally in agreement with you, sir, regarding that AI should not, is not to be trusted blindly, and we are aware of it. You see, AI as of now, focus is more on A than on the I. So that has to be very clear. And it is very far from NI as of now. Especially when the models have been trained on data on which we don't have control, on which we have not been able to know what data these guys have been trained on. So all those open model libraries that are available, we treat it with suspect. And there are activities going on to create own SLM. Own LLM is a far cry for, us, but SLM is well within our grasp. And once that is there, thereafter we will be able to fully exploit it. So what we are doing now is whatever AI throws out, it is vetted. And only then any action is taken on it. And we carry out multiple iterations. So once the iterations are there, automatically we can see the pattern. Okay, what is being thrown out by the AI, whether there is some further things. What happens is the library that has been fed into it, it is not only what has been included. What is important is also what has been excluded. So therefore, we are treating it with suspect, and we use it only for collating things and thereafter vetting it out. As regards fingerprinting, pattern recognition, people have already brought out, we are on total segregated network, totally air-gapped. So what we fingerprint, what we pattern recognize, it is kept in-house. And that has to be checked. Like, for example, if I have data of a certain type available for 25 years past. So what we did was we first trained our models on the data of the first 10 years, then predicted what should have happened on the 11th year. But 11th year, we already know what happened. So that way, completely number of iterations we carried out till we got a mature kind of answer. And 92-94% is quite accurate, is able to predict the thing that we wanted. Sir, your question about ethical, this is a major question. It's a major question in AI now. Whose data is being assessed, whether that person has given permission or not, we are not aware. But since on the social field, we are not much using AI. We are using it only for operational activities, on data that we are picking up, on data that we are maintaining. So hence, and we don't go much into this, we don't have the mandate to obtain or send data within the country. So we are not into that. We don't require it also. We require it all across the borders. So hence, I hope it answers your question. This has to be answered by, the ethical part of AI is something that people are still grasping with. And once the scientists and intelligentsia like General Anand and all, they decide on create some policies, we'll follow it. That is not my main task. My main task is something else. I'll use it.
I like the humbleness with which he says intelligence. You look at the intelligent guys talking here. Then I'll speak a little bit on the ethical part after this, but over to Mohit for the sovereignty part of data.
Okay, thanks for the question, sir. And valid question, and we get that pretty often. So at Google, we think about sovereignty in 3 different pillars. One is data sovereignty. That means your data should only be under your control and you can access it. And this is table stakes now. Not only the product that I own, Google Distributed Cloud, but all across Google Cloud, we give you a lot of configurations and knobs that you can have control on where your data resides, who can access it. So data sovereignty is definitely taken care of. The second pillar is operational sovereignty. With Google Distributed Cloud, you control and operate everything to do with the appliance or the public cloud itself. So whether it be the control plane or the management plane, it is completely within your premises. It is fully air-gapped. Nobody outside can actually control and operate the cloud on your behalf. So we give you full operational sovereignty. The third one, and I think that's what your main question was software sovereignty. How do you guarantee that you have no dependency on Google or any other third-party software provider to make sure your systems can run in perpetuity and you have survivability in the case of a stressed exit? Because of that, all of the software stack that is on the Google Distributed Cloud product is based on open source technologies like Kubernetes. Google is actually the leader in open source, and we've open sourced many, many different technologies, including LLM models, and now with Kubernetes. So all of the software is actually created on Kubernetes. So if you have to migrate off of this environment, you can very easily take it to any other system. So we want to make sure that we are not vendor locking you in, and there is a complete survivability for perpetuity. I hope that answers the question. Yeah. Correct. So all of these 3 different pillars, and because of the nature that it is fully air-gapped, we do meet all the different compliances for what defense asks for. So specifically for in the West and in Europe and in Australia, we've met all the different compliances. We can talk about IL6, DoD IL6 is something that we've stringently met. It is a stringent requirement. All of our security controls that we've built into the system are compliant with these security frameworks. And we follow the system called Zero Trust. So we follow Zero Trust architecture, which enables us to meet these compliance requirements. I can talk to you about it in detail on the booth, sir.
Yeah, I think that's a very, it's a question that doesn't finish in 5-10 minutes. It's a question that really goes into how you actually implement the entire project. And you have to ensure that the backdoors are all covered. There are no backdoors. I mean, so it'll have to be seen on ground, and you can create 100 compliances and still have one backdoor left, which will do all the damage. So how we work that in with various partners, I think, is the real question. And that people sitting on the ground, guys like General Jha and the others, who are acutely aware of this. So we are all, I think, very aware of this. Just a little bit more on the ethics part of it. So we are aware that basically with the black box phenomenon that is there, the neural network is spewing out something which we can't track. And yet we need to have accountability, and we have to have interpretability. I mean, it has to come out in a form in which we are able to understand. It has to speak our language that a human understands. Then we have to have checks at various stages of the life cycle of the AI development. So right from the data collection to the pre-training stage to the sifting stage, every stage of the life cycle of that AI product, till such time it is actually used, and especially in defense, where even the operator will have to answer certain questions before he accepts a decision given by the AI and actually presses the button. Those 100 questions he'll have to answer. And all of that will also have to be dependent, partly human in the loop, partly, I mean, there will be times when you can have human out of the loop. So all these ethical questions are being built in. There's a huge amount of global debate which is happening on the subject. You have the it is basically housed under the UN CCW, Convention on Certain Weapon Systems. And there is a group of governmental experts which has been nominated from various governments all throughout the UN, all 193 countries. Are representatives there in some form or the other. And there is a discussion going on the ethical part with various things. So many things to be defined. The lexicon, what exactly does it mean for it to be interpretable? What does it really mean to be, when you talk about lethal autonomous weapon systems, what really is the autonomy given to it? So what is autonomy as a definition? So all the lexicon has to be worked out and everybody has to be a common standard. Autonomy meaning, the meaning of that word to me is different from what it means to a Chinese person. There is a cultural difference in the lexicon. So that has to be resolved. So that's one of the major issues. Then there are many other organizations which are stepping into this, and India is very wary of this, because we have this, what I mentioned to you, the responsible AI in military domain, which started off with the Netherlands and South Korea, which I attended. It's now being, next year it will be probably held at Nairobi. So Kenya has stepped into it, Singapore has stepped into it, UK has stepped into it. India is a signatory, but we are not taking a lead there. And India is acutely aware that innovation should not be stemmed by all these frameworks which will be imposed upon us. So we are going to be very careful. MEA is leading the charge on this. And ethicality and innovation both need to be kept in mind. So if there's any other question on that, I can discuss with you. With this, ladies and gentlemen, we come to the end of today's session. We're a little over the time, but I hope it was useful and informative. Thank you very much. Thank you to the panelists. Thank you once again to Bharat Exhibitions. And from my side, of course, thank you from the USI as well.
Thank you. Thank you very much indeed, sir. I would request our session chair, Major General Anand, to kindly do the honors of presenting a token of appreciation and gratitude to all our eminent speakers. We begin with presenting to Mr. Parikshit Tiwari, Associate Director Sales, Norden Communications. So, yeah, I would request you to kindly do the honors, sir. We present to Mr. Mohit Gulati. He is Head of Outbound Product Management, Google Distributed Cloud, Google Cloud JPAC. Thank you for your valuable inputs in this session. We present to Major General A.K. Jha, Additional Director, General Information System, Indian Army. Thank you, General Jha, for sparing your valuable time and for all those valuable inputs. We present to Mr. M.A. Johar, President, Strategic Business, CP+. Thank you, Mr. Johar, for all those valuable inputs we had during the session. We present to Major General Manish Mehta, retired, ex-Additional Director, General Signals, Intelligence Headquarters. We present to Mr. Arul Prathan Singh, Director, Madras Security Printers. And to Colonel Anshul Verma, Director, Mobile Communications and Tactical Communication System, DG Signals, Army Headquarters. And I would like to invite on stage Brigadier Anil Tandon to kindly do the honors of presenting a token of gratitude and appreciation to our session chair, Major General Dr. Pavan Nanand, AVSM retired, Director of Center for Atmanirbhar Bharat, the United Services Institution of India. And I would request Brigadier Anil Tandon and Major General Anand to jointly present a memento to our sponsors as a token of gratitude. We present to Norden Communications. I request the representatives to kindly come up to receive. We present to our sponsors. The summit is powered by Google Cloud. I invite our representatives from Cognyte to kindly come up to receive the memento. Cognyte is here with us. Inviting CP+. From MSP, do we have anybody here from MSP TechSpire? And TechSpire, sir. We have a representative from TechSpire coming up to receive the memento. Thank you very much indeed, Brigadier Anil Tandon. Thank you to all our eminent speakers and our distinguished chairperson, Major General Pawan Anand, for that wonderful session. May I request everybody to kindly come forward for a group photograph. And ladies and gentlemen, with that we now break for lunch. The lunch break is of 30 minutes. Once again, the lunch is served in the adjacent hall on the right-hand side. I would request everybody to kindly be back and seated in 30 minutes. I know it's a short duration to have your lunch, but once again, as we are already running late behind schedule, we would request you all to quickly have your lunch and be back in time for the next session, which is also a very interesting session of technical presentations. Thank you. Once again, reminding our eminent presenters of the next session to kindly check or load their presentations with us before they proceed for lunch. Thank you.